Happy Friday, everybody! Welcome to Live at 5. Sorry if that was loud, Kaylin, in your ear. How's everybody doing? My name's Matt Roden.
I'm Andy Lefkowitz.
Today is a very special Live at 5.
Yes.
Oh, not only because it's me and Andy, but it also is happy hour today upstairs,
Yes.
which means I have a glass of sangria.
Matt's really
Britton's got
happy
something.
today.
I'm the happiest hour. And, oh yes, I didn't even tell you. You guys, okay. The guest that is joining us today, I feel like somehow the universe was I just feel somehow spiritually connected. Do you know what I mean? You may recognize her from full title, Natasha Pierre and the Great Comet of 1812. I was about to just say the Great Comet. Brittain Ashford is here. So I'm just so excited about that.
y'all.
We're going to talk about Ghost Quartet,
Yes.
this lovely shiny poster.
Nice.
But before that, Andy, we have some news.
Yeah, dude.
And Butterfly opened last night.
Yeah, it sure did.
It was such a fun opening. Julie Taymor, Clive Owen, Jin Ha was just in a Versace dress, just living his best life.
Gorgeous.
And I did a red carpet challenge with them, challenging them to name species of butterflies, which is nearly impossible because no one knows any species other than the monarch, right? Do you know any other butterfly species? That's it. That's literally the only one.
But they had some fun answers, right?
They did. They were great.
Yeah.
You watched it.
Yeah,
You liked
dude,
it.
it was a lot of fun.
And so there's video footage of that show on our website as well.
Indeed.
Yeah, what else?
So we got casting today, additional casting for the New York return of Jersey Boys. Jersey Boys is coming back to Off-Broadway's New World stages on November 22nd.
Because we need Jersey Boys
yes,
back.
we do. Come on, man.
We do.
So joining the previously announced Nicholas Dramard as Tommy DeVito, Mark Edwards as Nick Massey, Corey Giacomo as Bob
Yes,
Gaudio.
Corey Giacomo.
Yes.
Yes, Corey Giacomo.
Indeed. And you know what? The gentleman playing Frankie Valli, I don't have his name here on the list.
Oh, it's okay.
But I believe his last name is DeJesus, so my
Okay.
apologies.
All right.
Joining them will be a fantastic ensemble of folks.
Stephen Surf.
Stephen Surf. Andrew Fracci, Natalie Gallo, John Hacker, Christopher Messina,
This is a list.
Austin Owen. It's a hearty list of folks, and they're all going to be...
Jenna Nicole
Yes.
Schellen, who I went to college with.
No way, man.
Off-Broadway and Jersey Boys.
Look at
From
that.
the national tour. A bunch of these people are from the
Yes.
national tour.
Yeah. Oh, no way.
They just got back, and now they're going into the off-Broadway
Yes.
production.
So
it's
go
very
see
exciting.
them at New World Stages on November 22nd.
That's so
starting.
soon.
Yes,
Oh
it's
my
really
gosh.
soon. Less than a month.
Jersey Boys is back, baby.
Yes.
Lin-Manuel Miranda, King Killer Chronicles. This is a TV series
It is
that's
a TV
coming
series,
to Showtime. He is now a creative producer, which is really exciting. Also a really cool role to be playing in that sort of process. It's based on Patrick Rothfuss's, is that correct?
Nice work.
Rothfuss's
That's good. I like that.
best-selling fantasy trilogy, which I have not read. Have you read that?
I have not.
Have you read that, Brittain? Well, you're going to learn about it in this Showtime show. He's going to write music for the series, obviously,
is.
of course.
Yep.
Maybe a Moana song or two. And they haven't announced any dates. So it's also going to include a film and games. Andy gives me the news. This is what the news looks like when Andy gives me the news. Can you see it on this camera? And wow, that's exciting.
It's really exciting.
That's a nice big franchise.
It sure is, yeah.
And they haven't even done anything, and they're like,
No, they're
we're
kicking
doing
it
a
off.
film and we're doing games,
Yes,
just so you know.
interactive games.
I'm into it.
Yes. So Chess is coming back to London.
Nobody's on nobody's side.
Yes.
Nobody's.
The first ever West End revival of Chess is going to kick off performances on April 26, 2018. This is the first time Chess has been in the West End since 1986.
I wasn't born.
Yeah, dude, oh my gosh. Well, then you got to get there and
I
see
know.
it.
I just going to say
Yeah.
I knew that's going to be the reaction.
Brittany's going to hate
Yeah,
you when she gets up
Brittany
here.
So, okay, there you go.
I was born. Okay. As many of you know, Chess features music by the creators of Mamma Mia, ABBA songwriters Benny Anderson and Bjorn Ulvaeus.
And honestly, what could be better than that?
Yeah, come on. Lyrics by Tim Rice, book by Richard Nelson. So make your way to London and see Chess.
If you've never watched any of those bootlegs, like the original cast bootlegs
Yeah.
of some of that stuff, worth a watch.
Judy Kuhn.
Ugh.
Like the original London cast had Elaine Page. Like serious.
Come on, give me the
business,
fun
y'all.
facts,
Come
Andy.
on,
Let's
man.
go.
Yes.
So yeah, we have a cultural challenge on the site.
Yes.
Wicked is celebrating its anniversary on Monday. On and I don't know
30th.
what 30th anniversary.
Yeah. No. October 30th.
I was like, did you say 30th? October 30th is
Yeah.
Wicked's anniversary.
Indeed,
It's
the
what?
14th
14th
anniversary.
anniversary. Very
Yeah.
exciting. In honor of that, we're
Anniversary.
having a Culturals Challenge where you can rank your favorite songs from Wicked. Things like Defying Gravity, No Good Deed, Wizard and I, Popular. What else? I wonder how many I could actually name. Something Bad. Is that on the list? That's what I'm voting for. Something Bad.
What's the Joel Grey song?
Oh, Wonderful.
Thank you,
They
thank
called
you.
me Wonderful. I did call him Wonderful.
You sure did.
first
You've
time I
called
s-
him wonderful several
I
times.
have. The first time
Yeah.
I saw that show, my first time in New York City, I was 13 years old. I saw Megan Hilty and Shoshana Bean and Ben Vereen.
That is a great combo.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was into that.
Wow.
Yeah, I have photos of them like from my disposable camera.
Oh, just
Maybe one day I'll bring Megan Hilty like a photo and be like, do you remember this? Remember? She's like, no. Okay. Andy, what else?
So Falsettos is airing tonight on PBS. This is the cheered about revival from 2016. We
It's
love
so good.
Falsettos,
It's so good.
and it's been filmed and edited beautifully. It was in cinemas a few months
Right,
ago.
that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, I saw it. They've done such a beautiful job producing it. Tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, watch Falsettos.
If you're not watching Stranger Things, watch Falsettos.
Yes.
I also forgot to say that. Happy Stranger Things weekend, everybody.
Yeah, Stranger
And
Things.
the last thing is we have a new Never Have I Ever on the website.
Yes.
With Wicked. Again, we're just tying in all the Wicked things. Jai
Mm-hmm.
Frasca and Kristen Martin came in the studio, played Never Have I Ever. Very fun. Talked about ice cream and underwear and forgetting lines. What else? There were some other funny. Yeah, there's a lot of like funny little anecdotes in there.
choices.
And actually, before we cut to break, I just want to tell you that what you're about to watch is in honor of the opening of Falsettos, which opened a year
my
ago today.
gosh.
And because of the PBS special tonight, we're going to show you the red carpet challenge from last year's opening of Falsettos. It's very fun. I quizzed them on, I did 80s trivia, which I did
it.
not know any of the answers to any of the questions because I was not born in the 80s. So but it's fun. It's very, very cute. Nice graphics in this one. Tony did a good job with the graphics. That's what I remember about that.
Love it.
Yeah, but other than that, Andy, I hope you have a great weekend.
Thank you, man. I hope you do too.
We'll be right back with Brittain Ashford, everybody.
I am what I am. Bangalang gong, now so do Kong kong.
Hi, everybody. My name is Matt Roden here for Broadway.com at the opening night of Falsettos on the Broadway. And tonight, I will not be asking anyone real questions because we are playing a game that I like to call I Love the Gayties. Gay 80s trivia.
Okay. Oh, man. Now, you got to understand, I was a girl growing up in Orange County, California, Republicanville. I think everybody I loved was gay, but we didn't know it at the time.
Name the disco diva that had the 1980s hit called I'm Coming Out.
I'm coming up. You got the world to know. Got to let it show.
Donna Summer.
Close.
Me. Sorry.
It rhymes with
I have no idea.
Diana Ross.
Yeah. Oh.
No clue.
Anna
Ross.
rhymes with Shmai Shmana Shmoss.
Diana Ross.
That is correct.
Diana Ross. Next.
How did no one else know the answer to that? Name the 80s Jerry Herman show tune that Gloria Gaynor turned into a disco hit.
Hello, Dolly?
Le Cage Feu.
Oh, I Am What I Am?
That is correct.
Oh, shit.
That
Thanks
is-
for the hint.
I'll help you.
I am what I am.
Yes,
I am what I am.
that is correct.
Got one right.
I am what I am.
Yes.
Oh my God, I got one.
I am what I am.
Yes, you are. What was the name of the downtown music festival that launched drag stars RuPaul and Lady Bunny in the 80s? Not Woodstock, but it had to do with wigs.
Wigging out? Wig in a box. Wigs Central.
Yes.
Wig.
Wait, that's it. That's the one.
Wigstock. Wigstock. Yes.
Wigstock.
Yes, it was.
I'm back.
He's back.
I'm gay and I'm back.
Wigstock.
Wigstock.
Yes.
Wigstock. Yes. Lady Bunny also, right?
Yes. I said that. I said Lady Bunny. You're a bad listener. Name the 80s artist whose work appeared on the poster of the original Broadway production of Falsettos.
Oh, Keith Haring. There it
That one he really knew. I
we
didn't
go.
give him that one.
Keith Haring. I have a
even-
Keith Haring tattoo
Where?
on my back. I'm not going to get undressed for you.
Herring.
Keith
Herring.
Keith
Herring.
Keith Haring.
Keith Haring. Keith Haring.
Name the Hollywood hunk that took a career risk by playing a gay German in the 1980 Broadway production of Bent.
Richard Gere.
Richard Gere, I think, is the answer.
This is truly a miracle.
Richard Gere.
Yes.
I saw it because I remember it back in the day. I saw it.
Richard Gere.
Good for Rich.
Is it Richard Gere?
It is Richard Gere.
Okay, well, you gave me a lot of hints.
That's my job.
Richard Gere.
That is correct.
People say I look like Richard Gere.
What?
I was hoping for Sandra Bullock, but I got Richard Gere.
Schmitchard Schmear.
Oh, Richard Gere.
Gere. Just Gere.
Richard Gere was in Bent.
Yes, he was. And Tracy Toms was in
I
Rent.
was in Rent, not to be confused.
Not to be confused. What was the name of the 1985 movie about an effeminate window dresser who's locked up in prison with a sexy revolutionary?
Kiss of the Spider Woman. No?
Ding, ding, ding.
Kiss of the Spider Woman. Turn off the dart.
That would be Kiss of the Spider Woman.
Yes, it would!
Oh, Kiss of the Spider Woman.
Yes, it is.
Which we should revive.
With... I'm like, that. I would put money on that one.
I'm just saying.
Ooh.
White tux. Yes, yes. Visualize. Everybody secret this.
Welcome back, everybody. I am now joined by a soul, a human being, a spirit that just lights up my life. I really don't have many words. I don't really have words to describe. Like we sat, so here's what I'll say. The first time I saw Ray Comet, we sat on stage, and so we got to see front view of her saying her number. And then the second time we saw it, we sat at the bottom of the staircase.
Oh yeah, that's
right. Actually,
yeah.
we have one of the letters from you.
Oh.
At my house. I should have brought that today. That's a little creepy, isn't it?
Did I say something clever?
No.
Really?
I think you said Hello Kitty and like drew cats all over it or something.
Yeah,
Brittain Ashford, everybody! Woo! How are you?
I'm okay.
You're doing okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Happy Friday.
Thank you. Happy Friday to you, sir.
I appreciate you being here.
I'm happy to be here.
So the reason that you're here, other than just to entertain me, is to talk about this little ditty.
Yeah.
That's happening right now. I'll show it to this camera. That's happening right now, a New York Theater Workshop. Before we get into what this is, tell me about New York Theater Workshop. What's New York Theater Workshop?
New York Theater Workshop is a magical theater space, which I don't know if you've seen other things there, but they did the premiere of Hadestown, I believe, once started there.
I think so.
There's a handful of things that...
Rent?
Rent started there, yeah.
Right?
Some pretty big deal shows started there. Really wonderful commitment to developing shows. In this case, we're at the space next door.
Interesting.
Which is a new space. This is the first actual programmed show in the new space since the remodel.
That's really cool.
Which I could be wrong, but I think historically it's been used as a rehearsal space, or maybe sort of like you can rent the space.
It's like a black box space,
It's a black box space. So it's great because they just allow this particular series that we're part of is about production teams who are basically curating their own work.
Yeah.
So it's not actually produced by New York Theater Workshop. We're producing it.
Right.
But they give us the space
Which is amazing.
and the resources therein.
And speaking of producing this yourselves, the four of you like wrote the show, like made the show.
Yeah, I mean Dave wrote the show.
Okay.
And then we all arranged it and we put it together.
Got it.
At Berkeley Rep was where we started with our first sort of process, which was very much like, hey, bring your 3 favorite folk songs to the table and let's talk about it and like what is it that you like about those songs. And we had one night where we got to go up into Berkeley Rep's storage and just pick out whatever we wanted to. And they had all these instruments, so we found all this weird stuff and we're like, oh, how about this? And most of that didn't stick, but
what an amazing opportunity to be able to like have the creativity and freedom to do that.
Yeah, I think it really informed the development process.
Yeah.
And then of course we came back. We did it at Bushwick Star 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. 3 years ago.
Something like that.
We did it 3 years ago, and it's been a really wonderful project to be a part of. Also, even though we are sold out through November 5th, that's our last show, we have been getting people in almost every night on our standby line.
That's
so
great.
Really encourage people to try to come out anyway.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we're also doing a run in Seattle at the end of January. So
booked and blessed.
Yeah.
Tell me about Ghost Quartet. We'll talk about the creative process and all that stuff. But tell people that don't know, what is this story about? What is this show about?
The sound bite is that it is a song cycle about love, death, and whiskey. And so when I talk to people about it who don't know anything about it, haven't seen it, or maybe don't even know Dave's work, I say, just come expecting to enjoy the music. Really let yourself be immersed in the experience.
Yeah.
Because if you try to figure out every little detail, like if you're trying to follow plot points, you're probably not going to enjoy yourself. Because it's more about more about the music. It's like a concert. It's definitely more of a concert than it is a traditional show.
Piece,
yeah, there's not a beginning, a middle, and an end. Well, actually, that's a lie. There is a beginning, a middle, and an end. But like, if you're trying to follow it linearly,
yes, right.
You're probably just going to get frustrated.
Right.
So.
And do you think that's some kind of a signature of Dave's work, that is sort of, that it always is sort of it's this sort of immersive experience? Do you know what I mean? It's more than just a traditional, what you would call, like,
I think
musical.
One of the things I really love about Dave in general, and I've seen a lot of his work, and I've certainly been involved in enough of it, is just how willing he is to take risks.
Yeah.
And I think what's even better about him is that he does not perceive them as risks.
That's really interesting.
He's just like, here's this thing I want to do. I think it'd be cool if. Wouldn't it be cool if? And then it happens. Like even the story about Comet was like, he was in some weird bar in Russia and he was like, this is cool. I would love to have a show that somehow incorporates the elements of this thing where I am, this like red curtain and these crazy, pieces of art and the musicians kind of being tucked everywhere.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy that about his work, because it's not something that you're going to necessarily be able to look at and go, oh yeah, that is like that time I saw Murph. I mean, certainly like musical cues, I think with any composer, you can be like, oh yeah, there's a little bit of Sondheim in there.
Of course,
there's a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
But it always seems to be incredibly unique and specific unto itself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's I said that the other day to someone. I was like, oh yeah, I love Dave Malloy because it's so different, but it's like, it's so Dave Malloy.
Right. You just, yeah. Did you, growing up, were you like a theater person growing up?
I was very much a theater person in like high school.
Okay.
Junior high and high school, I made little like home movies at home. Home movies at home. I made home movies at home. I really enjoyed like making skits.
Yeah.
I was always a music person, I think, first.
That's what I was gonna say. So music was the first.
Yeah, like even when I was a little kid, I remember like writing melodies and trying to play music with friends. And then high school, I met my best friend when I first started through the Drama Fest. It was a series of one-act plays.
Got it.
She ended up being my director. She was my best friend. I used to hang out at her house like pretty much every day after school. And one day I was over there and she had this guitar, classical guitar, and I was like, oh, I didn't know you played, and I picked it up like, frang, frang, frang. Like, I didn't know how to play.
You had never played, yeah.
I never played, but I'm very fascinated by it, and I always considered myself very musically drawn.
Yeah.
And she said, oh, I don't play. Do you want it? My mom's crazy friend had a dream that she gave me this guitar, so she just gave it to me, and I have no interest in it. Like, you should just take it. And I was like, really? And she's like, yeah, I don't. Like, she sang opera. Like, at 16, she was so phenomenal. Like, maybe I was just totally enamored by her, but like, I think she was really good. Like, she had a lead in the High School Musical as a sophomore, which was like
big deal.
Unheard of.
Yeah.
So
big deal.
She was really, really good, and but she's the person who like gave me my first guitar, and then I started writing music, and then by the time I was done with high school, I was like, oh yeah, I don't know that there's like a place for me.
I totally
here.
understand that. Yeah.
And so I didn't really pursue it outside of it, but I loved it. I loved shows. She really introduced me to like a lot of shows that maybe I wouldn't have known otherwise.
When you moved to the city, though, you were doing
I was doing music. Yeah.
Primarily.
And, I thought that I would move to New York and go back to school and, you know, maybe get my master's in education. I thought I would teach.
Mm-hmm.
I thought as a teacher I could still play music on the weekends and I'd have summers off. And it didn't really work out that way, which is fine. It's been really great. And, you know, I'm still, now that Comet is done, getting back to doing my own music and finding the places to do it.
Yeah, how did you get involved in the first place with Dave and that whole squad?
I met Dave at a party.
Honestly, that's the best. Like that, but that's like exactly what it is. Like that's the whole like. Yeah. Okay. Tell me more.
That's the long and short. I met Dave at a party. He was like, "Oh, you play auto harp? I've got this auto harp. It's broken. Maybe you can help me." And I looked at it. We hung out this one night, and I was like, "Oh, you just need to order this new part. Like, cool." And then we just became friends. He invited me to see his show Beowulf.
Yeah.
Which, now that I think about, was also at New York Theater Workshop.
I think so,
maybe?
right?
I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was weird. I thought it was wonderful. And that was the moment that I was like, oh yeah, I wasn't quite sure about this guy. But like now I'm like, I get it. You're just a genius.
Right.
So that was sort of the beginning of our friendship. And then he approached me about doing a workshop for Comet, which, so the lore goes, I was like, I'm not interested. And then
he's like, you're gonna do it.
He just kept giving me beers, and I was like, fine, I'll do your workshop, you know. But
it worked out.
Yeah, it really did.
It worked out.
The only time having that extra beer has ever
worked out. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's just so cool, and I think especially because you're someone that is so creative and plays, you know, I mean, it just seems like the universe kind of like you were meant to be with that group of people and meet those people, and it's amazing that you now get to sort of like express all of the best parts of you in like at New York Theater Workshop. Do you know what I mean? I just think it's so cool, especially, and that's why I loved Comet so much, was because it was able to like it highlighted everybody's individuality. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Well, so much of that music was written for those people. Like when Lucas Steele does that Petersburg note, like that also was like kind of a joke. Like Dave was like, I'm not really sure how this song ends, and Lucas Steele was just like, you know, it's like it was written for him.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, I know that, you know, my song was written with me in mind, and there were so many songs, like no one else, written with Philip Assu, of course, like I know worked with Dave on that song.
Yeah.
So
there are a lot of young people that are moving to the city that are here or will be moving here that are creative, really talented, but different, and might not fit into like the cookie cutter of what is out there right now. And I think a lot of times people have a hard time putting stuff out there on their own and like making their own work and like doing their own thing. And obviously that's something that you've done, and that's something that Dave's done. What advice can you give? You know, like, I mean, I know that's such a generic question, but do you know what I'm saying? Like what can you say to encourage those people to make?
I think you need to do the thing that you love doing.
Yeah.
And it sounds really cheesy, but it's so true that if you do the thing that you love doing and you do it for that reason, that you love doing it, then you'll be satisfied in your work. And if you are lucky, that comes back to you.
Yeah.
And anyone can be good at what they do. That just takes time and dedication to your craft. You can at least be good at what you do, even if like maybe no one appreciates it the way you want them to, but you can still be good at what you do. But you need to be patient, and you also need to be kind, because anyone can be really good at what they do given the time or whatever, the people who have that gift.
Yeah.
But really approaching the work that you do with love.
With love, yeah.
And kindness, not only for your own work. And I think that is so important and something that people forget.
A lot of times.
Because they're like, no, I just need to make the thing. I need to make the thing, and I need nobody's listening to my thing. And like, Lord knows, we all have those moments where we're like, oh God, like I'm going to die alone with You know, like, I don't know, like
all this music that no one's ever gonna hear.
Yeah, I'm gonna die alone with like 10,000 CDs under my bed.
Right.
You know, like when they find me, all the
LPs
LPs will have collapsed on me, and like. But if you can escape those moments, and it's so important to get outside your head and make sure people hear it, and try not to take people's criticisms to heart, or take the criticisms as they might be meant to be heard, which is like, oh, I like this, but maybe have you thought about this? Like, I used to get so pissed off when I was first writing music, when I was like, 19 or something. People would be like, the song's not really going anywhere, or like, you need a bridge, or like, I don't know, what's the chorus? And like,
you were like,
and I was like, please, like I know what I'm doing. I'm 19. I understand how everything works in the world.
Right.
So, it's, if you can just be like, cool, thanks, I'll think about that. And even if that person walks away and you're like, oh, what an idiot, like, and you can do that, but like, it's not helpful if you sit there arguing with someone about what they like.
Right, you can't fight fire with fire. It doesn't make any sense.
So yeah, make the thing you love making, and don't ever think that it's going to repay you monetarily.
Right.
I mean, I think that's honestly, it's hard to talk about making art in New York and not talk about money and not talk about privilege.
Yeah, of course.
And that's one of those things. It's just like, you have to be talented. You have to be lucky.
Yes.
You have to be kind.
Yes.
And fingers
patient.
crossed.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
Patient is the big one that you said that I was like, man, that people need to, like, it takes time. Like, it takes time.
Yeah, to give an idea of this, like, the first workshop of Great Comet was 6 years ago.
I mean,
six
years ago.
And when I first did the workshop, or even like the first run at Ars Nova, that was 5 years ago, we made so little money.
Yeah.
It's like, it's embarrassing to say it,
right.
Like,
right.
and, but I did it because I loved the piece. Now, I wouldn't be able to do, I don't want to like
say a specific show. I understand.
I wouldn't be able to just do some like out of the box power pop. I mean, like, just something that you
didn't feel connected to,
care about.
Yeah, of course.
I was definitely, I called to audition for a thing or two. That I'm like, oh, even if I got that, I don't think I'm right for it. Even if I got that,
and it wouldn't make me happy.
It wouldn't make me happy. Like doing a thing that like, I don't think I'd be good at is one thing, but like be like, oh yeah, it's money, but is it worth it? Because even if you love what you're doing, and like I loved Great Comet, I loved all the people, I loved performing every night, but it's also really hard.
It's a job.
It's a job.
You're doing. It's a lot of work.
So if you, at the end of the day, if you don't love it, you're gonna be so unhappy.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and also realizing that it's not just the vanity. Like, it isn't just performing the show 8 times a week. There are rehearsals, and there's 5 years, 6 years of work that went into it before it really had any sort of before it took off.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, even it's been really interesting coming out of Comet and then going into Ghost Quartet.
Yeah.
And people who are like, oh, I had no idea the show existed. And they only know that Ghost Quartet exists because they found Great Comet. But they only found Great Comet because it was like a show that was on Broadway. It got nominated for 12 Tonys. So what if you're like, oh, if Comet never went to Broadway, and maybe I'd still be doing Ghost Quartet, but like...
But would anyone... Yeah.
Yeah. Who are the people that find it, and how do they find it, and
the universe has its way of working. It just kind of works itself out. Do you know what I mean? And that's the patience thing of being like, you know what, I just have to continue to do the work that I love and care about, and allow the rest to kind of be
what it is. And sometimes that means changing direction, and
adjusting.
Yeah.
Which isn't easy.
No.
Change is very hard.
Yeah. It might break your heart a little bit, but I know a lot of people who are like, oh, I used to think I wanted to be an actor or a singer or whatever. And then they're like, oh, then I realized, I still love theater, but actually I want to be, directing.
In this capacity,
or making costumes or working behind the scene. There's so many jobs within the industry that it's like, it's not just about, the one person on stage,
I mean, look at this company.
Yep.
I mean, look at Broadway.com. Like, this is a company that, it's Broadway. It's another piece of it, and like, it's all a part of the larger community and puzzle. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like you a lot. Let's see if the people have any questions before we have to run. A lot of people say hi. They love you from Lima, Peru. Da 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 da. Haley's seeing Ghost Quartet on Tuesday. Need to listen to Ghost Quartet. You're so pretty. Thank you, Broadway.com, for bringing her. What have you taken away from your characters in both Comet and Ghost Quartet? Meg wants to know.
Honestly, I think it's really important to. For me, I have to like leave those characters at the theater.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, Sonia, of course, this like very devoted friend. I think that like I definitely carry that with me. I'm like, oh yeah, like I just like kind of am that person.
Yeah.
But Rose Red for saying Ghost Quartet is so incredibly flawed and so incredibly human, and is she's all about making mistakes and like kind of figuring them out. Like kind of.
Yeah, just kind
of. So I do think about it a lot every night. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I have this line in the show. I guess I messed up, and I'm like, oh yeah, check.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something that everybody can take away. You know.
Yeah.
Everybody messes up.
Yeah.
Again, patience with yourself, and I was gonna say kindness to yourself.
Yes.
Right in the creating of the work too.
Almost more important than, I mean, you need, of course, you should be nice to everyone, or the people who deserve your kindness, you know, but like, be nice to yourself.
Oh, look, they all are writing questions now because they know that we're answering questions. Halloween candy, favorite Halloween candy? Haley wants to know.
I love candy corn. I know they're kind of gross, but like, I love them.
Okay. You might be getting some
And
on
it's
Tuesday.
the only time of year I feel like okay about eating them.
What's your favorite song in Ghost Quartet? Tina wants to know.
Ooh, Tina. I really love Four Friends. I just think it's fun. Even if there's no booze, it's still fun.
Still fun. Rosine, what do you do on a bad day to cheer you up?
Oh, cry.
I love a good cry, right? I love a good cry. What other literary work would you like to see adapted for the Broadway stage? Corinne wants to know.
Oh, God. You know what? So many of the books I really love are such bummers that the idea of seeing them on stage would be like, I thought
you were going to say theatrical. I did not know the sentence was going to bummers.
Bummer. There's such a, like, that book, Blindness.
Okay.
It's like, have you read it? I see you.
Sounds like a bummer.
Sounds like a bummer. It's a bummer. Or like, like, Unbearable Lightness of Being, bummer.
Yeah, right.
Book's a bummer.
Lauren, as we're quickly approaching Halloween, what's your favorite holiday?
Halloween.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Are you like dressing up as something?
No, to be fair, for the last like 5 or 6 years, I've had a show on Halloween, either Great Comet or Ghost Quartet. But
booked and blessed.
I love dressing up though, and
you get to dress up. You're dressing up. You're in a show. Like you have to dress up anyways.
Yeah. So maybe I don't even like Halloween anymore. I don't know. I like Thanksgiving because it's about like eating, and you can do it with your friends.
I like Thanksgiving because it's about eating.
It is. Well,
yeah,
I mean,
it is.
To me, I think it's important to be thankful every day. That sounds so dumb, but like.
This says gratitude, so I'm
there
with you. I got you.
I'm on the trolley.
Yeah, we're there.
Yeah, but I like it because it's like you can do it with your friends, and there's no one's over in the corner like bummed because they like didn't get the turkey leg they wanted.
Right.
You know, like
everybody's just there to like be with the.
You're like,
pain.
I'm gonna eat mashed potatoes until I explode, and that's great.
And that is amazing. Stuffing.
I know.
I love stuffing.
I dropped this pie on the floor, and it doesn't even matter because there's like 4 other pies.
Right. There's a Jello and a Jello mold.
Yeah.
Hey, Brittain. Amy is working, but she says hello too, just so you know.
Is that Tina?
Yes. Bailey wants to say, is it acceptable to show up at a matinee on Tuesday in costume?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, we're really encouraging people to wear costumes on Halloween.
Are you really?
Yeah, we were even talking about giving out prizes for the best costumes, but we're not sure how we decide that.
Who's the best?
Like, yeah.
Do like vote or
well, I mean, that was the whole thing. And like, I don't want to say that Brent and Gelsey and Dave and I all have very different opinions about certain things. But sometimes we have very different opinions about things. So, but yes, we do thoroughly encourage people to dress up.
If you're in New York City for the next 10, no, not even
11 performances.
11. So how many days is that?
We're done November 5th.
Which is November 1st is next Wednesday. So November 5th is next Sunday.
Yeah, week and a half.
So a week from Sunday. If you're here for if you're in New York City the next week, this is what you should go see.
And then also through the Seattle Theater Group.
Well, that was what I was gonna say. And then if you're in Seattle, if you live in Seattle or you're like near Seattle, when are you there?
I think it's January 18th through the 30th, maybe.
That's so fun. And Seattle's like great.
I'm from Seattle.
You're from Seattle.
Yeah, I was born in Seattle.
So you're going home.
Yeah, I am going. Oh, yeah.
This is home.
This is home.
This is home now. Are you excited for people to come, like people to come see you in the show?
Yeah, actually, my godmother called me and said, "Did you know that I used to do direct classes at the theater that we're going to be at, and that your godfather helped found it?" And I said, "No."
And if that's not the universe doing what it's supposed to do, then I don't know what is.
Yeah. What do you? Yeah.
I mean, that's just like. Whoa.
It's like really, yeah.
I'm not like surprised, but I'm also like, that's amazing.
There's a line at the beginning of Ghost Quartet, which is, "This is a circular story." So this is a circular story.
And this is a circular live stream. I so appreciate you being here.
Well, thanks for having me.
I'm so glad that you came through. Yeah. I adore you. And I'm so excited about this. I mean, this is so cool that this is happening.
Yeah, well, thanks. Thanks for having me here. And
you can come by anytime you want. Anytime you want to just come hang out.
Cool.
The doors are open.
Only on Fridays though. Is that when the happy hour is?
Sometimes Thursdays though, right? Mostly Thursdays, isn't it? No, it's. Breakfast on Thursdays. Oh right. Ugh.
I mean, I'll come for that too.
Okay, great. You're there. I hope you all have a great Stranger Things weekend, and we'll see you back on Monday for another Live at 5. Bye, everybody.